Hello, I'm Sérgio Fernandes from the University of Minho, and in the next few minutes I will present a new framework for infrastructure risk management affected by extreme natural events. This new framework is called Tema, the short name for Strengthening Infrastructure Risk Management in the Atlantic Area. Its aim is to develop a framework to be used for the management of road and rail networks subjected to natural hazards, leading to a better resilience and to anticipate and mitigate the effects of extreme natural events. With this, we expect to reduce the consequences of natural hazards in populations and economies. We also expect that this framework can be implemented in other countries and not to be restricted to the Atlantic area. The CERMA consortium involves partners from all the Atlantic area countries: University of Minho and Infraestruturas Portugal from Portugal, University College of Dublin and Irish Rail from Ireland, University of Vigo and ASVI from Spain, University of Nantes from France, and University of Surrey, University of Birmingham, and Queen's University Belfast from the UK. CERMA's objectives will address and strengthen the resilience of transportation infrastructures by developing a methodology for risk-based prevention and management with inspection, diagnosis, and assessment procedures. Also by implementing a decision-making algorithm for a better risk management, by creating a database with inventory data, performance predictive models, condition state indicators, and decision-making tools, by developing a real-time process for monitoring the state condition of transportation infrastructure, and finally by enhancing the interoperability of information systems in the Atlantic area, taking into account data normalization and specificities of each country. The project is divided in several different working packages, one dedicated to climate change and natural hazards in the Atlantic area, one other to instrumenting transportation infrastructure for extreme natural hazards. The third one will establish a risk and resilience-based decision-making procedure for transportation infrastructure, and finally the testbed work package to test and validate the entire CERMA system. The climate change and natural hazards work package will assess the vulnerability of transportation infrastructure to interceptable and non-interceptable events under different climate change scenarios. This work is being coordinated by University of Nantes, supported by University of Surrey, and is divided in three main actions. We will obtain a climate change indicators database on weather and climate parameters that could change the reliability of structures. It will be also developed a stochastic model for extreme events used to estimate the vulnerabilities and consequences. The model will have as inputs the information collected in the database, and the outputs will be used as inputs into the decision-making tool. And it will also be developed a stochastic framework capable of modeling combined actions of different events. As deliverables, we will have a database with climate change indicators under different scenarios and relevant data for the assessment of climate change impacts. We also expect to deliver predictive models necessary to evaluate vulnerabilities and consequences of infrastructure subjected to non-interceptable events such as river flow, and also to deliver a dynamic framework able to integrate climate change predictions and to evaluate the vulnerability and consequences of infrastructures subjected to different extreme events under different scenarios. As results, we expect that the climate change indicators database can be used in the future for estimating vulnerability of transportation infrastructures and to increase the capacity to predict extreme events such as maximum annual river flow, for instance, based on a given infrastructure asset location and climate change scenarios. The instrumenting work package is focused on validating the damage pathologies selected previously by using numerical and experimental evidence base. This will be done by defining and implementing monitoring equipment and sensors, and by developing algorithms for numerical validation. This work is being jointly developed by University College Dublin and by University of Vigo. It will be performed the design of instrumentation by selecting sensors and monitoring demands with damage pathologies. It will also be established the optimal placement of sensors as well as their calibration. Following this, algorithms for multimodal transportation networks will be developed. Near real-time monitoring will be a focus with bespoke climate-aware indicators, as well as a comprehensive numerical benchmark to establish the suitability of the algorithms. This numerical benchmark will be validated in a laboratory by implementing the algorithms for a range of synthetic and historical real data. Near real-time detection and model updating capacities will be also demonstrated. As deliverables, we expect to have a repository of instrumentation designed for a range of deployment scenarios, including the development of a numerical and experimental repository report and the guideline report. We also expect to have a demonstrative benchmark, including a numerical repository and developed algorithms, software tools for bespoke structural health monitoring, and a report of algorithm performance and implementation guidelines. As a result, it will be obtained a customizable climate-aware instrumentation capable of quantifying information level and accuracy for decision-making frameworks. Also, a guideline to allow infrastructure owners to deploy commercial monitoring with benchmarked performance. And finally, a novel software suite in portable and scalable climate-aware infrastructure monitoring for Atlantic area hazard types. In the third work package, it will be developed a risk and resilience-based decision-making procedure to address the short, medium, and long-term decision-making concerning the optimal planning of mitigation measures with the development of a risk-based framework. This work is led by University of Minnesota, supported by ASVI and the University of Birmingham, and is divided in 3 actions. The development of a risk-based predictive model integrating data obtained from the monitoring system and considering climate change effects on the likelihood and impact of extreme events on the infrastructure performance. To collect data on the relevant risk mitigation measures, not only in the Atlantic region, in order to incorporate effects, costs, and time frequency in the risk-based predictive model, and also to define an optimization model to maximize benefits and reduce risks, and also to maximize the infrastructure resilience to a certain event. As deliverables, we will have a risk-based forecasting model for transportation infrastructure, including climate change effects on the impact and return period of extreme events, also a relational database with effects and costs of risk mitigation measures, and finally, a real-time multi-criteria decision-making tool concerning the optimal planning of risk mitigation measures. As a result, we will have the forecasting of transportation infrastructure performance to multiple hazards, comprising the likelihood of extreme events and their impact in the infrastructures, and also a database with relevant risk mitigation measures, including their description and in what circumstances should be used, with what time frequency, effects, and costs. The CIR system of risk assessment and decision-making will be tested and validated through 2 testbeds, one in Portugal and one in Ireland. The Portuguese testbed will be based in some sections of a national road and a train line, both alongside the Atlantic Ocean. And for the Irish testbed, it will be used the main rail line with more than 200 train crossings. This work package will be carried out by 2 partners from industry, Irish Rails and Infraestruturas Portugal, consisting in integrating the climate change historical data, visual inspection, non-destructive testing, and structural health monitoring from the testbeds into the risk-based model and decision-making framework. It will also consist in integrating innovative indicators in the risk-based model and in the decision-making tool, and also by calibrating the decision-making algorithm with existing and new data in order to obtain the optimal strategy of risk mitigation for each testbed. As deliverables, the project will have a risk-based model and decision-making tool, integrating existing historical data from road and railways infrastructures of both testbeds. It will also have a risk-based model and a decision-making model with the innovative indicators obtained from the monitoring system. And as a result, it is expected to obtain an improvement to risk-based model and decision-making system, and the integration of a set of historical and existing data from the road and railway infrastructure networks, allowing the validation of the framework. You can follow the developments of CIRMA through the project website, cirma-project.eu, and also through Twitter @CIRMA Project. Thank you for your attention.